Holy shit. How's it going, you guys? And welcome back to the channel. It's hard to find a film where a director puts so much passion into it that it ends up becoming a memorable experience. Well, today's film is a perfect example of that because this film has so much passion into it that it ends up becoming the most absurd experience you've ever seen, yet it's still one of the best horror films out there. Today, we're going to be talking about The Evil Dead. The Evil Dead, starring Bruce Campbell, is directed by Sam Raimi. A group of 5 friends vacation to an abandoned cabin in the woods, where they discover a book that reawakens the dead when read aloud. They eventually release evil entities from the book, and they must fight to protect their lives. The Evil Dead franchise is quite a fascinating one, with 2 sequels after this film, and a TV show starring Bruce Campbell as the lead. It even got to be a part of Halloween Horror Nights, which was awesome, and you can even play as Ash in Dead by Daylight. It's not hard to see why this franchise has become so popular over the years because it really is a unique one when it comes to the horror genre. And looking back at the first film that started it all, pretty much everything about it is interesting, especially the production. With the exception of his college film It's Murder, The Evil Dead was Sam Raimi's very first major film, and oh boy, what a way to start off your career. As we all may know, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell grew up together, and they worked together on almost every project, as we see with these films, the Spider-Man movies, and many more. This film was a big passion project for the two, and you can definitely see that just based on all the events that happen, the overall atmosphere, and the way the film is shot. After reading up on the production of this movie and how many problems there were while filming, such as the crew getting lost in the woods, taking alternative approaches when it came to the camera work, the actors getting injured from the makeup jobs, which were very impressive in my opinion, Sam Raimi took a very ghetto approach when it came to certain things in production, but at the same time, none of that really matters because The Evil Dead is a fantastic film. Like I said, I find the creep factor of this film very fascinating, but it's very easy to tell how much Sam Raimi said YOLO to almost everything that happened. This movie is nothing but over-the-top insanity once it starts getting into the scenes with the group facing the Evil Dead. Luckily for Raimi, he had complete control with everything that he did in this film, and something I like about movies like this is how the director isn't afraid to go all in with how certain scenes play out. I mean, talk about the violence. The second half of this movie is nothing but pure over-the-top violence, and the scenes just get more and more insane. And even when you think it's gonna stop, nope, here comes Sam Raimi delivering a lot more than you anticipated. Just think about the hospital scene in Spider-Man 2, but the non-PG version. Oh man, I still like how Sam Raimi took a page out of his own book just to make that scene happen. As for The Evil Dead, oh yeah, it is a bloodbath. There's lots of dismemberment throughout, and there's so many disturbing scenes that it can get exhausting to watch, but thanks to Sam Raimi's style of directing, it can also be pretty hilarious. This is all in part to what the characters have to do in certain scenes, whether they're acting possessed or not, and you can definitely tell that Sam Raimi had a really fun time giving these actors material to work with. What's going on? And of course, a lot of this funny material is given to Ash, played by Bruce Campbell. He gets so many of the most random yet hilarious scenes in this movie that it gets tough to know if you should be taking this movie seriously or not. On one end, he gets to be a badass and fight off the Evil Dead like he was meant to do, but then there's that other side where he gets the most random scenes imaginable and you just can't help but laugh at them.
Now, sun will be up in an hour or so, and we can all get out of here together. You, me, Linda, Shelley.
What? Okay, I can safely say that Bruce Campbell as Ash is one of the best zombie fighting action heroes out there. And something else that I enjoy about this film, like I already mentioned earlier in the video, is the low budget factor of it all. While some parts of the film can look very cheap at times, a lot of it still looks pretty good for the budget. Shooting in one setting is already something that I really enjoy in film, and the little cabin in the woods was a perfect place for this movie. And I already mentioned this, but the makeup in this movie was also very impressive to watch, as well as the use of practical and CGI effects. But what I found the most interesting, which also contributed to this movie's campiness, was the sound mixing. Raimi mentioned how the budget was so small that they had to develop their own sounds for certain parts of the film. He would have had a physical entity, but instead he used the sounds of voices, music, and sound effects to create the monster and leave it to the viewer's imagination, which I really admire. I also like how Raimi made the effort to insert the most random sounds into the most basic scenes, like this one. Why he decided to do that for this film, I will never know, but at the same time I can find joy in that, considering all the previous campiness that occurs in this film. There's already a whole bunch of different uses of the camera throughout this film. Probably the best idea to have some fun with it. Raimi really knew how to go above and beyond when it came to making this film, and that passion is just through the roof. But overall, The Evil Dead is one of those horror films where you can just sit back and have the time of your life while experiencing a jump scare or two. It's very amusing to see that a film like this knows how to incorporate a creep factor while adding a comedic edge to it all. There are many great horror movies out there, and while they can still get a little silly and predictable at times, they still manage to deliver. I love how this was one of the first films to dive into the genre and embrace the silliness factor of horror. It's also great to know that Raimi had full control to do whatever he wanted with this film. I know that the most recent Evil Dead film decided to take a more traditional approach to the horror aspects, which I can respect, but after watching the original, I honestly can't see myself watching it with that kind of tone. And I know that there's people out there that like the most recent Evil Dead film, but for me, I'll happily stick to the original and its insanity. But for this low-budget film, it still managed to make itself stand out and become one of the great horror films. I love how over-the-top the violence can get, and I love seeing the added comedic edge to it all. And I also appreciate how Raimi was able to make the little things stand out and turn it into something unique. For their first film, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell really got lucky with this one, and I'm glad to see that the movie got the attention it deserves. It's probably a good idea to avoid this film if you have a weak stomach, but maybe the pure comedic factor can prevent any issues with that. A low-budget passion project with so much effort to make it stand out among the rest? I'm gonna go ahead and give The Evil Dead 9 out of 10 zombies.
It is entitled Naturan de Manto, roughly translated, Book of the Dead.
So I'd like to know, what do you guys think of The Evil Dead? Do you love it? Hate it? Not care to watch it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Thank you guys for joining me in this second horror movie review. Look forward to more very soon throughout the month. And until the next one, you guys, I'll see you later.